Let's start with the second roundtable. We will talk about Web3 and tourism. There's a lot to tell. So I invite here to the stage with me, Edoardo Degli Innocenti. Thank you, Edoardo.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here. So let me introduce the panelists. Alessandra Forti. Welcome, Alessandra. AFTERWORLD. Nice to meet you in person. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, please take a seat. Michele Ruberi. Hi, Michele. It's a pleasure to have you here. Hi. Welcome. And last but not least, Simone Puorto. Simone, finally we met in person. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you for them.
Yeah, for sure. So please have a seat. Maybe we
Yes.
have
I
everything
really
for
have this.
everybody. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. You can keep this.
One for Alessandra, maybe. Okay.
Oh, yeah, for Ale.
Thank you very much, Edoardo.
Thank you.
It's your turn.
My pleasure. Welcome, everybody. So I know, we are really into summer, so this is a really interesting panel for you all, since we are dealing with travel. We're dealing with travel, but in the Web3. So I know you're all curious about what are the solutions, what's the state of the industry, and we are really, really happy to have it's such an honor for us to have people like you here talk about three different perspectives of the same industry. And I would really start with Simone Puorto. Simone Puorto is a visionary advisor, keynote speaker, and author with extensive experience in the hospitality industry. He organized the Polybus event, the first meetup dedicated to the travel industry in the metaverse. With a strong academic presence, Simone is a highly sought-after MBA lecturer at renowned institutions around the world. He serves on the board of several disruptive companies, including BWG, Robotsize.me, Sleep.io, Vision, Gain, and Kyrie. He is the founder of the Travel Singularity consulting firm and works between Rome and Paris, if I'm not wrong, to shape the future of business through innovative and sustainable solutions. So I really hope I didn't miss something, but otherwise correct me.
No, it's perfect.
That's perfect, great. So I would really like to start with something we were talking about before, because there is a lot of discussion, at least in the travel industry, about disintermediation. Disintermediation, really key, a keyword. We always speak about disintermediation in the blockchain industry, but yet you told me earlier that you prefer to use the term decentralization, right? Mm. So could you explain this concept, at least between the two words, in a more detailed way?
Well, I think it's a buzzword right now. When we talk about disintermediation, the main problem is that we're trying to solve a problem using exactly the same paradigm that we were using before. And for those who are not familiar with the hospitality space especially, we got a problem because it's a pretty centralized industry, right? And especially in Europe, it's Booking.com land. The majority of reservations come through Booking.com. And it does have a cost. It can go up to 18, 20, 25%, and even more. Now, the problem is that if you're trying to fight these online travel agencies, you need to spend like a tremendous amount of money in advertisement. You get Google ads, meta search ads, social media ads, you name it. And it's very easy that you get to a cost per acquisition that is even higher, that is 20%, right? So I think we're trying to fix a problem, but using exactly the same weapons that we had like 25 years ago. Now, with decentralization, we can, first of all, tap a complete new market. And this is, we can talk to all the more crypto-native generations, for example, people that actually want to travel on a more Web3-friendly destinations. And on top of that, we can actually create, for the first time, a system that is more democratic in a way, okay?
New paradigm. It's a new paradigm.
Complete new paradigm. And I think it's the only possible way. You know, whenever we talk about Web3 or metaverse or AI, whatever, I never talk about innovation. I think that innovation, it's an urban myth. You know, it's like the crocodile in New York. I like to talk about evolution because that's just the logical evolution. Like we see it in music, we see it before, or in ticketing. That is exactly what we're seeing in the hospitality space. And this we are seeing the first examples with loyalty programs, for example. Many hotels are doing an amazing job here. The Bristol Paris launched recently an amazing NFT project. And we have more and more, let's call it decentralized OTA, even though the term is probably not 100% correct, that are starting to democratize travel and creating some kind of marketplaces where the guest is not only somebody that is just leaving passively the experience, but it can actually, you know, trade or resell rooms and so forth. And on top of that, this creates a whole new market, and a market where everybody wins. You know, the cost per acquisition go down, and the guests can, to a certain extent, even become like revenue managers, because they can buy rooms at a low price, resell a room at a higher price, get a little piece of the cake out of it, but the hotel will still make money. And the same goes for destination. So I think that over the last 10 years, what we did is we tried to fix the centralization problem with regulation. Didn't work. Probably we need to fix it with technology, and I think this will work.
Yeah, so speaking about evolution, it's kind of that centralization was the first step. Right, so kind of we start from centralization, but then the evolution is pushing, you know, the alignment of interest between people and who is giving services brings us to evolve in a different paradigm. So if what we are trying to say, if I get it right, is that you are giving more power to the people, right? To act, to be involved.
There's a very, like in travel, there's a crazy imbalance if you think about it. Like, you cannot choose your own room. You know, somebody picked that room for you. You know, when you buy a suite, it is not universally a suite. There's somebody sitting on a chair that said, okay, this one is a suite, okay? So it's very top-down kind of industry. It's a very snobby industry. You know, there's a lot of ego involved with hospitality. Yeah. Way more ego than Web3. Yeah.
And I would say also opacity, because, you know, computers not always are bringing transparency, right? So usually they are making things easier, but you have to give up on information. You don't know exactly what's going on behind the servers, behind what's the algorithms of social networks, of, you know, travel agencies, whatever. But with blockchain, actually, you know, with all the decentralization, new paradigm, you have more transparency, right?
Well, not only that, but I say, look, we're getting into a new era, even of the way we do marketing. You know, some can call it Web3 marketing. I don't think it makes any sense. It's marketing, you know, and that's it. But we need to deal with the fact that we live in a time where people is way more privacy concerned in a way. They are not willing to give data very easily.
Exactly.
And everybody that works in Web2 marketing knows that in 4 days, the version of Google Analytics that we use for the last 20 years is going away. So we need to come up with new strategies. And I think this is very Darwinian to me. I think that we will see who is really good at doing marketing without having all the information, but just having some critical information. So again, yeah. This is just pure evolution.
Lovely, this Darwinian side, I would say. But let's move also to Michele now. Michele Ruberi. So Mick Ruberi is a technologist with more than 20 years of career on 4 continents, both in the corporate world and as 2-time startupper, specializing in travel tech since 2014. He has been involved in blockchain since 2017, first as CTO of Santos Hotel and Resorts, then as head of architecture and integration at Alpitur, now as advisor at Chain4Travel and director blockchain and Web3 at Pickwork. Several visionary projects have been implemented under his leadership, such as peer-to-peer federation of loyalty programs in hospitality, 2018, if I remember well, and the world's first hotel night sold as NFT. That's great. And it is now developing a Web3 enabled platform to enrich the traveler experience on 3 main pillars: voucher, trading, and recognition. So after what we spoke about, at least, I have really one question to you, because I'm really curious, speaking about Pickwork and Chain for Travel, exactly what is the approach to the issues we are discussing, and why do you think this, we can say, is the right time to do it in terms of mainstream industrial adoption, technology, which, by the way, blockchain, we know, and Web3 is mainly known for cryptocurrencies, but it's not just cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, correct. So to the first point, why now? So I was involved in blockchain for travel, as you said, since 2017. At the time, the big use case was, let's redo Expedia. Well, let's first see what we do exactly, so then I'll keep replying to the question. So basically, what we do is something that changes the paradigm on how you search and how you then can reuse the property on a travel asset, be it, in this case, a surfing course, that you can find on whatever portal, not necessarily Airbnb.com, as was mentioned before, and then you can reuse or even resell or share with your friends or share a part of which with your friend, etc., monetize, and everybody involved in the supply chain gets a cut, gets a royalty, gets something out of it. So this enables all sorts of cool scenarios that we can talk about later. And so why now? I think Simone replied basically already. So the idea is there was a moment, there is actually a historical moment now where it's not about rebuilding Expedia. So there is a bad word in Italian is skeuomorphismo, and I think it's in English, I'm not very sure, it's skeuomorphic, which is basically why a camera on our phone does click. You don't need a click on a camera on our phone, but we're used to that, so we can react to that like emotionally. So we are trying to reinvent the wheel so many times, creating yet another booking portal in the travel industry. Why we don't need to do that? We need to have another approach to traveler experience that is enabled by blockchain. So this is one of them. This is semi-reinventing the wheels, as in you still buy a travel package somewhere in a portal, but then you can attach an experience to it that you can, if you can't travel, resell. If you don't want to travel for whatever reason, utilize. It's yours. It belongs to you. It's not like Airbnb shuts down and now you don't have your reviews anymore. Your reviews belong to you in this.
It's the ownership, right?
It's the ownership.
It's the Web3.
It's the internet of ownership, yeah, exactly, right? So
the internet of value.
So why now the moment? Because it's a bear market. People are finally free to build without a rush of let's put out as an NFT tomorrow because then we do 100x, right? And also because many of these, again, let's do the next Expedia-like approaches failed already. So we're in a good position to now think what's next, finally. And I have like the luxury of being seated on 2 boards for this. One is Chain for Travel. Chain for Travel is building an L1 blockchain for the travel industry. So trying to build the actual infrastructure for all these travel players to interact with each other. And Pickwork, the company that pays me at the end of the month, is actually building a solution on this together with like Sleep.io or other companies to create new approaches to the traveler experience. And we don't want to invent the wheel. We don't want to scare away the Expedias, which are still there to stay for the foreseeable future. But we would like to enrich that traveler experience with something new that is not possible without the blockchain. So add that little bit new, which is a new service, a new experience.
Yeah, I would say that also there is this, Copernican revolution in the ownership of data. You really say the really important keyword, which is ownership, right? So what is happening, I would say that you have many different actors, right, in the travel industry. So you have to make them talk together somehow. And the blockchain looks like the perfect technology to do this because we know how painful it is to connect backends through API, which was, that old way of doing this, but it's all for us that actually we are talking about this, right? It's all for everybody that realized this. But what do you think about this Copernican revolution, about the ownership of the data that is fostering and making it easier for actors to talk each other, even though they don't trust maybe each other, right?
Yes, so it has two phases, three phases at least. So yes, first of all, is giving to the consumer, to the traveler in this case, power on his or her own data, right? As in many other similar paradigms in the Web 2 of travel, those big giants own the traveler, own the profile. Now the traveler can own themselves and can monetize the profile if they choose so, by saying, okay, this is me, I have this sort of NFTs related to past travel experiences, or my Dolce & Gabbana bag, I don't care, that's me, give me the experience of my lifetime. And the business is much happier to give them a discount or whatever, because that's less than what they would pay Booking.com to have that information. Like we're talking 18%, 20% cut that any business gives to these intermediators, which is a lot of marketing money to use to make a customer who comes to you really happy. That's one side. The other side, which is the flip side of it, is that being a B2B business as we are kind of disrupting a little bit. I hate the word, but it's like turning around how the industry works. This is an industry, travel is an industry that works on really thin margins. We're talking 4% on a package, 5%, which is not a lot of money to work for. And who buys, as the big tour operator or big OTA, needs to arbitrage from sellers of the same room night, playing on real cents on the room nights. So you don't really want, as a player of this industry, to show how much you paid for that room and now you're selling to the trust. So putting that on blockchain, it's not nice, or it has to be encrypted anyway. So there are ways to go around it. It's not obvious. It's not like put everything on blockchain and it's auditable now. There are tricks and tips to do it, but that's why we're here, right, to help.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. And then let's move to Alessandra Forti. Alessandra is part of the IT division of the Alpitour Group, an Italian company operating in the tourism sector, for who doesn't know, dealing with sourcing and product composition. Alessandra, together with her other colleagues, with different skills and role, is part of the Web3 laboratory, right? That the Alpitour Group created almost 1 year ago, to deepen and undertake scouting activities on new technologies and develop possible use cases useful for business. So this is really tough because you really need to find new, business model leveraging the technology, which, by the way, is what digital transformation is at the very end. And I have really a specific question for you regarding Alpitour, what you're doing, because I know, and we all know actually, that Alpitour is working on a lot of things. Specifically, would you like to reveal some details about the innovative Web3 labs? At least what you can say, let's say.
Yes, sure. In the last year, Alpitour's focus on technology has been reflected in the development of a strategic project with the investment aimed at accelerating business transformation and streamline processes. In order to achieve this goal, we have created this Web3 lab involving people from different departments and different realities of the group. We are talking about a group because I would like you know that Alpitour is not only active in tour operator with its 3 pillar specialties, mainstream and seamless, but also in aviation field with Naus Airline, and in the motel division with VUI Hotels chain with 14 resort and hotel worldwide. So the Web3 lab promote the sharing of idea, scouting of technology, and the development of a new field of application in order to inspire the innovation in the company, in Alpitour.
It was hard to convince some of your colleagues to be part of the group, or it was pretty easy?
Not so easy.
Not so easy.
Not so easy, but yes, is beautiful because this team is composed of people from different level, so from the junior to the senior or senior.
Yeah, you know, heterogeneous group is the key when you have to do this kind of exploration, right? You need people that can have different point of views and compare them, right? In a room, you know, doing brainstorming and looking really, you know, you really need to be curious and to have the strength to keep the peace with everything coming out, because, you know, this technology is going blazing fast, right? So you're working pretty hard, I would say. Thank you very much. So now I have a question for you, Simone, because, you know, starting from what we were saying together, I see your point in disrupting side of Web3, so it's a pretty provocative question. But you stated, I did my own research, so you stated several times that, of course, trying to reach the, let's call alpha generation, right, through Meta, Google Ads, traditional channels, is like doing, and I love this, fax marketing. That's, you know, I'm gonna steal this for you, fax marketing. And is this a form, you say, a provocation to say that we should abandon the marketing, advertising strategies, we should really destroy everything? That was what the context of Web 2?
No. Look, I think this is one of the big misconceptions when it comes to technology, right? And sometimes whenever there's a new technology, you think that we're going from the fax machine to brain implants just overnight. That's not how technology works, okay? And it's funny, like I call this the Pasquale paradox. Now, it's not a very well-known figure. It's my father, you know, almost 80. And when I started being a geek, I wanted to learn Commodore 64. You don't remember, you're too young, okay? And he said, why don't you go outside and play with the other kids? I said, I don't know, I kind of like the computers, you know? And now he's 80, and I just think, I shouldn't say that, but I installed an app to see what he's doing on his phone, and he spent like 8 hours a day on social networks. That's the same guy, and it happened in the lifespan of one single person. So the thing is that we are in a position that we can make exactly the same mistake that we did 20 years ago with social network. Now, if you do remember, at one point we just took like the more corporate marketing, and we tried to use social network exactly like we were using websites or brochures, and it doesn't work, you know? The result is comical, is, you know, politicians on TikTok. That's what you have. And so I think it's just a question of understanding that it's not only a technological change, it's a cultural change. And you know, when we look at things like banner blindness or advertisement blindness, this stuff is real. You know, if you want to talk to my kid, you cannot do it via Facebook ads.
Yeah.
You cannot do it via Instagram ads, okay? You can probably just do some advertisement on Roblox. And this doesn't mean that tomorrow you need to wake up and you stop doing everything that works, that is proven to work, and you just move to Web3 marketing. But it means that you need to understand that there's a whole new generation that is completely blind to the marketing we do today. So, as always,
that's right.
This is a balance, okay?
Yeah.
Some people will like to go to a physical travel agency. Some people will like to book in the metaverse. Still works, but you need to address both people. Otherwise, you will lose part of your market.
Yeah, really tough times for marketers, I would say.
Jesus Christ, it's a nightmare.
But you have to embrace this. You have to embrace the mayhem, and you have to keep pushing, keep going, studying new technologies, finding new way of doing this. And that's the only way, you know, to survive, at least. But I really love to move now to Michele, because we were talking about targets, we were talking about people. And my question to you is, you know, let's talk about in go-to-market terms. Okay, in go-to-market terms, what are the customer you target? Because we already say that it's really hard. So my question to you is, what are the customer you target? Because, you know, there are companies out there, they decided to innovate, to have new, fresh approaches. That's perfectly fine. But exactly, what are you offering?
So yeah, I mean, we are a B2B company, so our customers are hotelier, and it's not exactly a tech-savvy customer. You need to explain to them first what a CRM is, then first what the internet is, then I'm joking, of course, but it's really about fax machine and a few generations to go to Web3, right? So you can't sell Web3. What you're selling is, okay, this is how you do business, and you keep doing it. And by the way, we give a tool to do it better and smoother, and etc. And then you unlock, you turn the switch on, and then you can talk to each other. Because for the hotel, talking to each other is something of the future. So the hotel it's this small, very, very nice building in the middle of nowhere, possibly. We're talking leisure, where you get magically customers, you don't know exactly how, from these big platforms, or you're getting your 10,000 repeaters, or a fraction of your 10,000 repeaters year after year after year. So how do you do this better? Well, you create a loyalty program. But now, how do you market a loyalty program to people that do the travel of their lifetime once in your destination? It's not like T-shirts or anything like more consumable. So then you say, okay, I give you a loyalty system that makes you like normal discounts, etc. Then when you have enough of these small hotels on your loyalty system, you say, hey, switch on the federation among yourselves. Now you become a Star Alliance, a Sky Team of small hotels without an anchor player, without a Lufthansa there, without a Hilton there. But you can then exchange leads, you can exchange customers, you can exchange benefits, etc. So that's one strategy. Among, let's say, a peer-to-peer, again, loyalty play. Then starts by giving hotels what they need, which is technology, and then enabling this new business model. That's for small players. For big players, we do the more or less opposite, as in we try to make those business models they have already in mind more approachable. And by doing that, enabling this first customer, the small hotels, to benefit from it. For example, we're working for Miles & More now, which is the company behind the Star Alliance program, saying you can tokenize your miles. By tokenizing your miles, now you can say to all these small all these small hotels that have a small loyalty program, now, in case your customers don't know what to do with your loyalty programs, points, you can exchange them for miles of Miles & More, which is already much more spendable. And so this sort of convincing the industries bit by bit stuff is what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so talking about convincing the industry, let's move also to Alessandra, because I know we see where we are going, and now if we have to talk about one project in particular, some concrete project, would you like would you like to talk about the NFT Wave 1 WAR retreats, which my question is, tell us please what the experience was like and what aspects you would like to share with us about this special concrete project.
Yes, from Web3 Lab, we venture into the world of NFT to understand and to test the possibility that this technology offered to the world of travel tech. The experience was successful because during the summer of 2021, for the first time ever, a hotel room was sold at Action in the NFT format. So the auction offer the possibility to buy a night, an exclusive night at KDD Hotel in Venice of the luxury V-Retreats, which was held through OpenSea. V-Retreats is a Voi Hotels brand dedicated to the historic and charming buildings. The initiative was successful in terms of communication, and also because for the first time Malpitour spoke to a new community that had never existed in the company before. So I do not deny that there have been some difficulties also, not only benefit, because, for example, the impact on accounting process of the company, because we found it challenging to collect payment in the, let me say, unconventional currency.
Exactly.
And the second one, the virtual world with the use of a real service, because on the one hand, someone will arriving at check-in, so on the other hand, someone must be able to identify it and say welcome for your booking. So
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, so, and this is really important because this is just the first step, right? It's the first step to disrupt the industry. And moving now to Simone, someone behind the curtains was asking me this question, but I'm bringing this to you because you are the expert. And I know also that you organized the first event in the metaverse. Really quick answer now because time is running out, but I want to go through this because I know you organized the first event in the metaverse for the travel and hospitality industry, but you seem to have a certain caution about metaverse-based projects. That's what a lot of people are always asking me about, metaverse-based projects. Can you explain why this is your position?
Well, first of all, and this is coming. Does it work? It work now. Sorry. First of all, I hate the word metaverse. It's a marketing gimmick.
That's a strong position.
Well, that's the internet.
Yeah.
You call it the metaverse, but that's the internet. And the problem to me, especially in hospitality, because when we talk about like industrial metaverse, it's something that's been around for probably 20 years in one way or another, right? So we all agree, it's great. Metaverse can help you out if you're having surgery, or I don't know, for automotive companies to do crash tests, amazing. Now, is it good enough to sell a hotel room? Maybe. Now, my only problem with that is that the majority of the projects that I do see when it comes to hospitality are digital twins in spatial I/O. Mm-hmm. And that's not the metaverse. I mean, this is just a tiny part of what we can do with the metaverse. For example, you go into this room, like I got two amazing stories. I will be super quick because I see that this is running out. But the first one, so I spoke at BAT, the Borsa Internazionale del Turismo.
Yep.
And this guy came to me and said, look, come down, just take a picture with us. We created this amazing destination digital twin. I will not tell you the destination. But I looked from a distance and said, that looks like ALTSPACEVR. This guy's closed 2 weeks ago. So they were presenting something on a metaverse that closed 2 weeks, before.
Wow.
Said, okay, Jesus Christ, really? you really want to show this? And that's one problem. And then one guy came to me, and this was a hotelier, like a bunch of properties, probably 10 properties. And he told me, look, I created a digital twin on spatial. What now? I said, what do you mean, what now? Yeah, they told me I had to go to the metaverse, so I got some funding from the region, and now I have these digital twins. What do I do with that?
Yeah, that's the best part. They told me.
Yeah, of course. They told me. They told me. So, innovation for innovation, to me, it's not a great thing. And I think that, at least at this stage, the only thing we can do with metaverse in hospitality, at least with digital twinning in hospitality, that's one part of the metaverse, is just pure pre-visualization, right? Or trying to get new audiences in metaverses that are a little more game-oriented in a way. But I see that a lot of hotels, the only thing they're trying to do is to create a more immersive version of their website. Again, they're coming back doing exactly the same mistake they did 20 years ago. So they're trying to use the same marketing strategies, but they're just changing the medium. The question here is that the medium comes with a whole new way of communicating your image. And that is where a lot of projects
it's
will
not
fail.
digital for the sake of digital, must be digital for the sake of value. If you have value, then it's okay.
Look, you got 3 rooms in, I don't know, Canicattì, and you're good with that, you probably don't need even a website. You know, if I had a 3-room hotel in Canicattì, even though I'm a tech enthusiast, I would not even create a freaking website. So just think about, do you need it? And if you need it for what? Now, if you cannot answer this question, forget about the metaverse. But maybe forget about the internet as well.
Yeah, that's a really good advice, by the way. And so moving to Michele really quick. I know you work with big names. You told me a huge list. But would you like to mention some of the clients you're working with? Maybe why? I would really ask you why those companies are investing in Web3, and what are the vision at least you think they are sharing?
Yeah, I was mentioning like the hotels, then I'm mentioning big players as Miles & More, hence the Lufthansa group, etc. We're working with, I can mention, etc. So what all these guys are sold are exactly on what I, Simone, Alessandra are talking about, which is new ways, new services, not really a new way, another way of creating another portal or another way to sell the same room night. We have enough of those. We have enough of those standards as well. So I think what sells these big companies, which are visionary in their own, on their own, is basically what is one of the characteristic of blockchain, which is composability. You can create stuff that people don't imagine, that us on this stage can't even imagine, only by playing with each other in the industry. For example, I am at the airport. My flight is delayed. Now, the airline drops this information on chain as an NFT. The retailer at the airport, for example, Starbucks, gets this information, offers me a Frappuccino or a discount on a Frappuccino without having an agreement with the airline. Now, I'm happy as a traveler. I don't have to wait 2 hours for the paper voucher that then I'm angry I've already eaten by myself. Starbucks has a new customer coming in. The airline would have a commission or a royalty on that transaction that she didn't even imagine was possible. She didn't plan for. So that's the kind of scenarios that these guys are sold on. And by the way, they need technology. They need also building blocks as in a registry, because technically you cannot just see all the NFTs. You need to register the contracts. And that's technicalities that people would solve. But I think that's the actual way that you do to work in real life and in the metaverse, but mostly also in real life among businesses in 5 years from now. You don't need to think that people would go to whatever Expedia will be named in 5 years.
Yeah, we are going to see this in a couple of years, maybe, and anyone's going to say, we predicted it, by the way, because this is really disruptive.
And I'm not saying this is the end of the intermediators. I'm saying the intermediator has to evolve. It is much more friendly to the asset rich, like the hoteliers, the tour operators, the airlines, but also there's space for the intermediators who are ready enough to innovate.
It's alignment of interest. It's a win-win. Put as many win you want. People inside on the blockchain, right? So that's
probably everybody but Google would be happy, because Google tends to represent this.
It's really hard to change, people habits. And just to close really on a high note, we have been listening attentively to your NFT Wave 1. You described pretty well before. But do you have really, if you can, any news you would like to share with us, a preview of what's coming next?
Do you want a spoiler?
I want a spoiler, yeah.
Thanks to successful experience of Wave 1, sorry, and thanks to the strong growth of hotels and retreats with increases in the number of hotels and resort, yes, we can announce that there will be soon the Wave 2. I cannot tell you more, but stay tuned and prepare your wallet.
Stay tuned and keep us posted, absolutely. So really, thank you very much. We are just a couple of minutes over time, but I think it was worth it, actually, because we are close to the travel season, and really looking forward to seeing all these innovative solutions coming through the next years. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Just one thing. Just 1 second, because we launched in Toronto right now at ITEC the glossary, the Web3 glossary. So it's a thing we wrote with 200 panelists of Polybius. We're giving 500 copies for free.
Wow.
And I have some copies here of the printing press of the Italian version, so It does have some typos, but if you want a copy, you can get it for free. Huh? So I will be around, just knock on my shoulder and you can get a copy, okay? So a little gift, and I packed how many I could on my luggage. So I think I have maybe 30, 35. So if you want one, just let me know, okay?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Simone. Thank you, everybody, of course. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I would like to have a copy, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was amazing. Such an inspiring speech. Thank you, Edoardo, for your moderation.